In the next video, I will focus on the basics of CSS, but before that, I want to show you something. I would like to intrigue you by showing you how CSS works in practice. There will be terms like cascading, inheritance, and precision. It's very interesting. It may seem difficult, but it's really cool and mind-developing because it can be considered as a kind of a puzzle. It's a set of rules that must be learned and used well. But let's start with the simple things. You already know that we have the default styles, what they are and how they work. We also have block elements and inline elements in CSS, and this is also included in the default styles. For example, block elements are placed one below other like the p tags or the h tags, and inline elements place themselves next to each other like, for example, a button or an a tag, as you can see on this example. We are going to learn all about it, so don't worry. Today I want to show you how to change these default CSS styles. And to do that, we need to add our own CSS styles. We can do it in many different ways, but today I just want to show you one of them. Let's go to our project. Let's go to our head tag. And below the title, let's just place the style tag. And between the opening and the closing style tag, we can place our CSS code. So we can place our first CSS rule. Let it be h3, just like this. What I did here is I placed the CSS rule for the h3 tag, and to do this we need a selector, which you can see right here. So I indicate all h3 tags in our website. As we can see, we only have one, but if there will be more of them, this CSS rule would apply to each of them. Then what we have to do is open and close the curly brackets, and between those curly brackets we can add CSS properties and values to our elements. For example, font size 50 pixels. And what you can see here is a pair of property and a value. On the left we indicate the property, in this case font size. On the right we indicate the value, which is 50 pixels in our example. The property has to be separate from the value with a colon, and it's good to end each line in CSS with the semicolon. Now let's save our file and see the difference, and we can see the effect in our browser right now. We have overwritten the default styles with our own styles. But let's say we want all our HTML elements to have a different font. Not Times New Roman or Tahoma, but we want every element on our website to have font Arial. We don't need to set a different font to every element separately, because in CSS we have something like inheritance. Now I'm going to show you how this works. We can place a rule for our body tag, and let's specify its font family to Arial. Let's save our file, and voila, you can see the difference on your monitor right now. Now let's go to the DevTools in our Google Chrome because I want to show you something. When we select our body tag right here, go to our styles overlap right here, we can see we have two different body CSS rules. So these are the CSS rules to specify our body tag appearance. And the first one, which we can see, is the same. We put it in our HTML file, which you can see right here. And you can see it even better right here, when we can see it's from a file default styles HTML, which is our file where you can see right here. And we can even see in which line of code this CSS rule is placed. It's the 9th line of code, and we can see it perfectly right here. But then we can see we have a second CSS rule for the body, where we can see display block and margin 8 pixels. It's probably familiar to you at this point. And we can see this is user agent style sheet rule. So this is the default styles given by the browser. Of course, we can change it as well. Let's go to our body tag once again in our CSS rule, and let's set margin to 50 pixels Let's save our file. Here you can see those margins are bigger right now. And now when we go to our styles overlap in our DevTools, we can see that this property given by the browser by default is not applied by the browser anymore because we overwritten it with our own CSS styles, which you can perfectly see right here. And that's all because of the cascading. CSS is cascading style sheets, and here you can see why. We are going to learn all about the cascading, but for now, all you have to know is that cascading is telling the browser which CSS rule is more important and which CSS rule the browser should apply to a certain element. For the most of the time, we set our margins in our HTML files to 0 to reset it completely. Let's see how this looks. You can see the difference on your monitor, but you also can see that those H1, H2, and H3 elements don't apply to this rule and have their own margins, which I can show you typing something like this. H1, H2, H3, which will apply to every our H tag on our website. And let's set its margin to 0 as well. Let's save it. And you can tell that we still have some margins right here, but these margins are specified to the p tag. So we can add another rule, for example p tag, and also set its margin to 0. Let's save it. And now you can see that we practically have no margins left on our website. But why is that even happening? That's because not every property in CSS is inherited. It's just like with people. We inherit some attributes from our parents, but not all of them. I will show you what else can or cannot be inherited. Let's go to our body tag once again. Let's place color property. Let's make it green. Let's save our file. And here you can see that most of our HTML elements inherited the color from the body tag, but not all of them. As you can see, our button have still black font color and our A tag is still blue. We will also learn about why some properties are inherited for some elements and for others are not. Trust me, it's very interesting, mind-developing, and not so difficult as it seems at the beginning. Let's, for example, go to our H3 tag once again. And let's try to change its color to red, for example. What do you think? Is it going to be red or green? Because as you can see, here I specified the red color for the H3 element. But as we know, we also have the green color inherited from the body tag. Well, let's save our file to see what will happen. And as you can see, it turned red. It's because of the next term we are going to learn about, and that is precision. Here we say precisely which element we want to change. I will tell you right away that if something is defined precisely, it's always more important than something inherited. As in this example, precise color red is more important than color green, which was inherited from the body tag. You can already guess that this is the same situation as with our A tag. This A tag is blue because it is precisely defined to be blue. So now if we want to change its color, we also have to be precise. For example, we have to create a new rule for the A tag. And let's change its color to red. Just like this. Let's save our file. And here you can see the difference. Remember, precision is more important than inheritance. It's really clear and understandable once you'll get it. And believe me, you'll get it really soon with me in this course. So now with a little background of what we are going to talk about in a moment, we can finally start to learn about the basics of CSS. First, we will learn about the grammar. What is it called, and how it works. Then we will start to complicate things more and more. but at the same time brightening up everything in your head. So let's start.